On the show today, we have Africa's biggest rapper. I said so myself. Take it up in court. Ladipoe. So we're going to be going bar for bar, flow for flow, and pound for pound, all right? So you need to do, sit back, relax, and listen. Is this Will See, and we have Ladipoe on the show today. So how you doing, my man?
I'm good, man.
I love distant relatives. Please, wait, come down. Nas and Dime Mali.
That's hard. That's that's actually hard. It's not from that, but that
Yeah.
actually is.
That's the album now.
Yeah, when we
Yeah.
went to I was in Rwanda, and there's some guys that we met out there when we were doing a show out there, and this is their brand, so they gave me this.
Okay.
But you're not wrong though.
Yeah, and you know what's so dope about that album was it was at the time when Nas was having the Kelly's thing, so he needed to rediscover himself, musically.
And he
traveled
did.
to Jamaica, made such a massive piece of an album.
I look back at it and I'm just like, that collaboration is even more massive in my eyes now that I look back, looking at the body of work and stuff. But it was so different. And anyways, I feel like this is going to come up again in the conversation because it has that combination of rap and then like this lyrical, melodic flow that Damian Marley had.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. Like we don't.
Planted a seed in my mind.
I know. It's almost like we don't get music like that anymore, man. To be honest, like the music out there, it's almost like the music is just engineered now. It's no longer from the soul. It's no longer like you don't feel like a deep connection. Like when you listen to, albums like The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, where it takes you to. I remember listening to Masquerade in my second year in secondary school, and I still remember, most of the song. I still remember how we didn't have the internet, so we didn't really know the story of Diallo. But that song conveyed everything about what happened to Amadou Diallo too as well. So, but now you just listen to the music, and it's like the music is just written for TikTok, and it's just there.
That part is a sore point for a lot of artists. But the thing about it though, I feel like I'm caught in two minds. One part of me is like, you might be saying this, but there's probably some 15-year-old thinking that, they've heard a classic in a recent album, because I always feel like when there's a switch over to a newer generation, there's a tendency for people to feel like, music is no longer like what it used to be, but people are retelling what it should be now. So that's one way to look at it. But at the same time, I feel like that idea of you can't ignore that technology and progress has played a role in how music is now.
Oh yeah, true.
How things like for you, like for instance, what you said now is for TikTok.
I know.
It's also a valid strategy.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel so good sometimes, but it's a valid strategy.
Yeah. So the rapper Ladipoe.
Yes,
so
sir.
Where did it all come from?
Like for me, I never saw myself doing this.
Really?
Yeah.
So what did you want to do?
To be honest, I don't think I knew what I wanted to do.
Really? So you're one of those kids like.
But when I was in school, I had picked a path. I was in medicine. It's like, okay, this is right. I studied biology and chemistry. So you're talking about university? So I went to university in North Carolina.
Okay.
And I double majored in biology and chemistry.
Okay, so medicine, right?
Yeah, so I was in that direction. And in that course of all of that, trying to figure out this and that, but at least picking a course. I just picked the subject I was best at. And then I met some guys, and those guys became like lifelong friends, and we started to make music together. And then from there, I just got this love for writing raps. And then it grew and it grew and it grew. And out of the three of us, I'm the one that is really still only making music now.
Okay.
So we formed a whole group, and I never thought I'd be able to do it by myself.
What's the group called?
It's called Lyrically Equipped.
Lyrically Equipped.
I swear. So obviously it already tells you kind of like the mindset of it. But like, and then all of a sudden I come back to Nigeria and I'm still wanting to do it. And then I link up with some friends over here, and then they put me in another direction. But I continue. I think what surprised me is the fact that I kept going.
Yeah.
In this space, and then before you know it, medicine is.
So you didn't just go back for medicine?
No, man. I worked in a hospital when I graduated, and I was like, I work really closely with doctors, and I'm like, my heart is not in this. I don't see myself committing my life
to this. Okay.
And
that was it.
And that was to me. I didn't even realize it before you knew it. I was an artist. I mean, I think my family is still. Some of them are still coming to terms with it. But it's been.
So how did your family take you? You come from a very long line, a very prestigious family. I think it was your grandfather that was the Supreme Court Justice.
Oh wow, you've done your research.
Yeah, was your grandfather, right?
Yes, it was my paternal grandfather.
Oh, that's on your father's side.
Yes.
Okay, is it Justice? Is it sure?
Justice Kayode, sure.
Oh yeah. Very. I read a lot of his rulings. A very brilliant mind.
That's it. Are you a lawyer?
Funny story. No, no, not. So I have a diploma in law, so I did a lot of, yeah, we did a lot of, we did a lot of law courses, so yeah.
That's first and foremost.
Mm,
I've never disclosed this or talked about this
yeah.
ever.
So funny thing about me is that I pick up the randomest information. To be honest, so when I was growing, like my mom did communication and language arts. So when I was growing up as a kid, I'm still till now I'm a very voracious reader. So I can be watching TV now and somebody say something and I write a lot and immediately I just write it down and be like, oh, that would be good for my radio show. So I pick up the randomest information. I'm the kind of guy that if I see a word for the first time, as long as I see it used in a sentence, I can tell you the meaning of the word. Yeah, so I just read.
No, man,
yeah.
that's very interesting. Like that. That's such a yes.
Yeah,
my grandfather was a Supreme Court justice.
that's huge, man.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I come from a family of, how do I say, civil servants and entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
It's a combination of that, and I think that kind of instilled the sort of like values that I hold into even in my music.
Yeah.
Which is, it's important to be authentic to who you are. You say something, you mean it. Integrity, things like that, follow through, all of those kind of things. And my grandfather being a Supreme Court justice, my maternal grandfather was a doctor in the army.
Yeah.
Both my parents are entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
So I think that a lot of that has kind of fed into like the mindset I currently have now. I don't really talk about this much because I feel like when I first started, I always wanted to separate the fact that I do this from, the family I come from, because I didn't want to, I guess in a way, I didn't want to embarrass them maybe.
Yeah.
I didn't want to go into this thing that was new. Nobody in my family has ever done
it. Yeah.
And then bring like some kind of like shame. So it's interesting, like even talking about it now.
I know, but you're a different kind of rapper because it was for me that's why I'm a huge fan of Drake and Jay-Z. I'm big on cadence. How you write the beats. Can I hear your personality? You understand what kind of flow do you have? How do you brag with it? I love Biggie. I respect Tupac, but I'm not a fan of.
You like the flow. You like the East flow.
Yeah, I'm more of an East Coast. I love East Coast rappers. West Coast rappers have this purist mindsets and everything. So when you just listen to it, I'm like, it's too heavy. You understand? So I just lean towards, most rappers are coming from the East Coast, just lean towards them.
East Coast rappers are very lyrical type rappers.
Yeah, really?
Typically. I mean, like, by the end of the day, this whole like lyricism, I think one of the most interesting things in rap in Nigeria is that while I love that people hold on to the purists, the mentality and the things that they used to love and the classics, I sometimes feel like they hold on to it too tightly and don't want to accept that there has been
a change.
There has been an evolution.
An evolution, yeah.
And as a result, and it's gone from like lyrical rap to really melodic rap, and I exist kind of somewhere like in between. I think when I even started out with Show Them Cam, that immediately kind of differentiated me and them. They were very.
Were you a part of the group?
No.
Okay.
I was pretty much just somebody that they met.
Yeah.
And we all clicked.
Okay.
And then I just appeared on them with a lot of different songs with them. So
sorry, were you in Fire Ballet?
No, I wasn't on Fire Ballet.
Okay.
Yeah.
What song?
I was on, I think, I don't know what my first Show Them Cam
song, yeah.
I did something with them on freestyle called Flight School.
Yeah.
But I think Feel Alright was the one that really
Yeah, with Bodge.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember now. Yeah. But Fire Ballet was the first time I saw Show Them Cam, and it just blew my mind. I was like,
they were doing something authentic, and look at what they've created now.
The Palm Wine Fest and how people just gravitate and just come, every year, for that festival and everything.
It's an artist's dream.
I know. So we've seen you evolve, from when you started to, you having one of the biggest songs in the country, at a point in time. So I think one of the lines is a quotable. Throw a party for myself and act surprised.
I see that on Twitter like every other day.
So I'm getting together with Benson and making that record. How did that come about?
Once again, it was because I came into this game with Brotherhood.
Okay.
I think I'm one of the few people
is it like Portable's Brotherhood?
No, not that. Not Portable's Brotherhood. With camaraderie.
Camaraderie.
When I mean camaraderie, what I mean by that is, like when I like Show Them, first and foremost, one of my cousins, like Show Them is big at the time. It's like gang. It's like a whole gang.
Yeah.
And one of them was like my cousin, and that's how I got really close to the guys. But nobody made me. Oh, before we put you on the song, sign this deal or do this or do that. I came in because there was genuine love.
Yeah.
And that has always kind of helped me throughout my career. But the track Feeling, I remember Andre comes into the studio. We haven't seen in a while. He plays me a bunch of beats. I'm like, create a folder for me, and we put a bunch of beats in there. One of them is the track that becomes Feeling.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, yo, I recorded an idea, and I'm playing it for one of my guys. I'm like, I'm trying to get somebody on this song. And he's like, Buju will kill it. It's a totally different song. It's not even this Feeling track. So I hit up Tech, showed him Camp. I'm like, yo, look, can you link me with Buju? Because I know they're done the song Do Me Nice.
Mm-hmm. Oh, bro.
Yeah,
bro.
There's another one.
Bro.
That one is another.
I just had goosebumps, man. That song was.
Yeah.
Ah!
They brought, like, everybody brought it. I think Sparks produced it.
That song is a
Buju's
lyrics,
classic.
Everything.
And Buju's flow is, is phenomenal.
I know.
So he creates a group. We talk. Buju comes through one time. We play the record. We play the record I wanted him on.
Mm-hmm.
He does a thing to that record.
Yeah.
And then after that, we're playing some other beats. And the first beat we play is the beat that becomes Feeling. He hears it, and I'm like, it's that moment where, because in the studio, you go off of energy. So you play a beat. I kind of give it a second. I always give you time.
He doesn't really say anything. So I'm just about to be like, next one. Mm-hmm.
I love that beat, but I'm like, next one, maybe he's not feeling it. But he's like, yo, hold on. And then he steps up to the mic and he drops the hook.
Just like that.
Just like that. And, it's not every time you get to see that, like, happen, where somebody just connects with the song, spirit and energy, everything aligned, and they just drop the actual hook. I don't think he really changed much.
I know.
After that, on any words. So as soon as we heard it, we all knew it was up. It felt good. I didn't know it was going to be the song, but it felt good. And when I wrote my verses, it felt complete. And I wanted to write verses that, just as much as you love the hook, you would love the verse.
You love the verses,
I wanted to make sure that the verse is just as catchy as the hook. And also keep lines in there, like
quotables,
Because to me, and that's why I call them lifelines. I feel like no punchlines, just lifelines. Lifelines are like the thing that, bro, you get a gift, you get this iPad.
Yeah.
Nice packaging, lovely packaging. The packaging is going to be thrown away, no matter how pretty it is. Even the gift, you might use it, not use it, but that feeling is important. And I feel like that's what a lifeline is. It sticks with you, and it starts to mean something in your life. So I felt very fortunate, and that's what is consistent in my music. It's not the genre or the beats per se, it's the style of writing.
Okay. When people, heard that you were joining Maven, a lot of people felt like, it was going to water down your rap, because when you look at rappers that have been on Maven Records, Dr. Sid, The Prince, K-Switch, after a while, everybody started to, have that melodic rap style. Dr. Sid dropped a banger of, I Feel Like, Over the Moon, and Pop Champagne, and also Surulere, yes, which was fantastic too as well. So, but it wasn't the same for you though.
Joining Maven was it's something that I feel like has aged well.
Okay.
I think at the time, I'll be honest, even myself, I was like 50-50. Because I knew I was at the point where I wanted to take my career from here to the next level.
Yeah.
I knew that I didn't want to be a local champion. I knew that I wanted my music to proliferate across the world. And I thought to myself, how am I going to do that? And that was the first time I decided that I'm an independent artist, but I think I now need to partner with somebody.
Okay.
And then I felt like, Maven wasn't the only label I was speaking to, but they felt like they had recognized that they themselves were like, we're known here, but the rest of the world is what we want to do. And we recognize that we're not a big fish out there, we're unknown out there. So it had that same underdog spirit. Even though they're big dog here, they were focused on what the future could bring, and that was this underdog mentality that I really identified with. But at the same time, I was like, man, if I join Maven, people are gonna feel like I'm switching up the sound. So I'm not gonna lie, man. And that time was very, very there's a lot going through my mind, but I think it's really aged well. Maven has allowed me, despite what people thought, I've retained a lot of my creative control over the music. We discussed how we wanted it to be.
Yeah.
And Jazzy gave me that. See, the truth is, I don't really feel like you join Maven and you switch. I think it's the artist that determines
what they want to do.
Jazzy has never come into the studio and said, you're not singing enough. So Lamba,
Lamba no day,
he will come in and give it his advice in 2 cents, but never tells you must do this or do that. You absolutely have a lot of creative control. But what I will say is, as an artist, I was surrounded all of a sudden, going from being constantly surrounded by rap artists, alternative artists that, later people start calling alter
Yeah.
artists, to like big hit makers, producers that were very mainstream focused. And I think that what it does for an artist, it challenges you as to what are you really about? Because what you are about is the only thing that will set the course for your music. Because there's so many influences around you.
Yeah.
And you now have to determine what works for you. So it took me a while to kind of settle and feel like this is my style. This is who I went through this whole identity crisis, but I've come out of it. I came out of it with much clearer idea of the kind of artist I wanted to be. And I think I like the fact that I came from one world into another, but still found my feet, as opposed to just only experiencing one thing. So I think like the Maven decision worked in my favor, but like you're right, a lot of my fans were nervous. And I think that it caused like a shift or like fear through the fan base, but I think now I look back and I'm proud of the decision.
Okay, cool. So, I mean, there was a time in this country where rap was the foundation of the evolution of our sound, because I think it took us almost 20 years to be able to get to where we have this Afrobeats vehicle now. So it started with, a lot of rappers back in the day, the Mode Nines, all those people. Then, I remember Style, Ella Joe, B-Elect, all those guys. Then now, arguably one of the biggest Afrobeats artists, Wizkid, got his first break on the rap song, with a rapper. You understand? So then we started to see the sounds switch, from rap. Then everybody wanted a little melody. Then, Nigerian pop music just took off and everything. Then MI came with "You rappers need to fix up your life." Then the conversation on social media as regards, hip hop being dead. Then I believed that maybe Nigerians didn't really like hip hop. Then J. Cole came and packed out the hotel, and people were singing word for word for an album that just came out a couple of days ago. So do you think do you think Nigerians actually like rap music, or they, or they don't like rap music?
I feel that Nigerians love rap music.
Okay. So why don't they put their money behind rappers?
But I'll put it like this.
Yeah.
I feel like publicly,
Yeah.
people hold on to a romantic period of rap music.
Okay.
And that makes sense.
When you say romantic period, how do you mean?
Like just like how you've described it,
Yeah.
rap was at the forefront, rap was the dominant sound. It was the one that was leading the way, and it influenced a lot of even some of our current Afrobeat artists.
Yeah.
But people say it in a way as if that is as if, okay, hip hop that didn't transfer, like it died there. It came and did its thing, and it's not. But what I find interesting is, how is it not clear to people that that is what big genres come and do? They are there in their purest form, and over time, they start to dissolve into other genres and push those genres
forward.
And years later into that, they are no longer the name people will call that genre. That's just how it is. You look on the charts, and for instance now, like, it could be a rock type song that is top of Billboard 100. But rock and roll music is not what's popping right now.
Yeah, but it's inspired.
Rock music.
Yeah, inspired. Massive influence. Yeah.
But we're not calling Mick Jagger for shows though, right now.
I know, yeah.
So, but my point is, it doesn't mean rock and roll is dead. Rock and roll has come and done its big one. It's created all these genres. I feel like hip hop is one of the most successful genres for a reason.
Yeah.
So I feel like hip hop has come and done its big thing as well. Like it's come in and sired many iterations of itself. It's come and propagated itself. These are all big words to say. It has come and like, it's created descendants.
Yeah.
But as much as you look like your father, you know your father. Do you understand?
True, at the end of the day, yeah.
Yeah, so it's going to change, it's going to morph. And I think that people have publicly not accepted it. Privately, they do because they love the music, they're playing the music. But publicly, they keep on to this older narrative. So I think that's the first thing I want to say is that I think hip-hop has been successful. It is now pushed the genre up and even helped Afrobeats. I think what you're not seeing anymore is people rapping in that purest hip-hop way or hip-hop style or hip-hop music the same way as they did before. And that is not just the case in this country.
It's everywhere.
That's everywhere because it's got to move forward, and you may not like what people picked from it. But I think a lot of new rappers realize very quickly, like, I'm not going to ignore melody, because you have to understand one thing. And I was having a conversation with the who I call him a legend, Panji Anoff. He's a producer in
okay.
Accra. He produces for them fucking boys.
Yeah.
And he said something that's so interesting to me. He's like, look, like, hip hop music is coming, it's done this whole thing, it's influenced genres. If you want to say that hip hop is dead, you can look at it that way, but you at least have to accept that. Let me use a football analogy for you guys. There was a time, Gary Neville them is a right back.
Oh yeah.
He stays
at the right, yeah, but now they are wing backs now.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it has evolved.
Evolution.
And in the game.
In the game. Yeah. Now, left backs, fullbacks are not just fullbacks, they come forward. They look at Trent Alexander-Arnold. He's going to come forward, and he how many assists in the league? He's one of the top assisters in the leagues, because the team has realized we need everybody supplying the cross, not just defending.
Yeah.
So I feel like what Panji was talking about is like, when hip hop came, it came because it was in rebellion to something.
Yeah.
It was anti-singing.
Yeah.
It was devoid of singing for a reason at that time.
Yeah.
We're not in the 80s no more. We're not in the 90s anymore.
No more. Yeah.
Now, and plus us who are African, we're melodies in our blood. Hip hop has become more melodic because that's what people like. Not just the audience, but the artists themselves. Yeah. So they infuse their melody into their own melody, different ways, different styles into the music. And so it has taken new ways, whether it's trap, whether it's drill, whether it's whatever you want to call it. So I feel like even us with Nigeria, rap and Afrobeats, how we've merged it in so many different ways, it's because it's got to move forward. And it's no longer close to its inception stage where it was rebellious, anti-melody, anti-that. No, we're adding more things now, we're fusing. And I think when you start to fuse, you don't know what you're going to come up with, but sometimes you come up with something that's just as amazing. So I feel like the main thing is that Nigerians do love rap. They should cut rappers grace and realize that the orientation has changed. And I always use this example. Killing Them is just as much a hip-hop track or a rap track.
Yeah, by who? Burna Boy?
Burna Boy.
Yeah, that's verse. Such a jam.
Zlatan's verse brings that rap edge to
it.
And you can't deny that it impacts the song. Like, are you going to tell me that that's not a rap track? Why? Because Burna is singing on it. So I think that people have to accept that the fusion has come in ways that they didn't expect, and that if you want purest hip-hop, there's still artists that do that.
Do purest hip-hop,
but not a lot of people are going out of their way to just support only that.
Yeah.
And I also think artists like myself, we realize that there's more to us than just the ability to be lyrical rappers. I realized that when I was on so many, like Jai, for instance, Lagos Island I realized that the biggest gift being a rapper gave me was letting me realize that I'm a songwriter.
Okay.
And that realization that I'm a songwriter made me realize that, the ability to be a lyrical rapper is one of my amazing tools, but also it's let me know that it's not just the verse. I need the hook, I need the bridge, and I can write those things myself. And if I want to add melody to it, does that make me any less of an artist or less of a rapper? I don't think so. Yep. So I think the main thing is that the mindset has changed, the style of making music has changed. However, there's a big or small portion of the audience that feels like if you're not rapping in a purist manner, you're not hip hop. And
I'm talking about,
I'm
talking about purist rap and everything. I think that was like one of the bases for, the beef between Kendrick and Drake. Everybody's saying that, Drake came and watered down and, Kendrick and everything.
It's nice to see it now when you don't consume the music, when you've been rocking up to all his hits.
Yeah,
now you want to talk about
and I feel like the fans, for instance, should give Drake credit, because when hip hop started to dwindle, he was still the one, dropping songs that were making the charts. He was still the ones, doing the collaboration. He was still the one viable. And I keep saying that I'm such a huge Jay-Z fan, but you know what's funny? There's never been a year where Jay-Z has been the biggest rapper. Never been.
But one thing that Jay-Z told me was like, if you say it long enough, people will think you're the best.
Yeah. Yeah. So
he's actually the one that told me that.
Yeah.
And it's such a shame because man, the problem with this industry sometimes, when you come in the game with too much manners and sense,
I know
it doesn't help you.
Yeah.
You really have to. I realized very late in the game that you need to talk your shit. You need to say who you are, and it's not bragging. It's real.
It's real, yeah.
You know. And I realized too late I was way too silent and thought only talent speaks for you.
Well,
so many hard truths I've learned.
I know. Yeah, so with Drake and the Kendrick thing, though, I felt, Drake has been a rapper, has been on top for 15 years. And, with the Kendrick thing. So it just came from a place of, I saw, when I started seeing tweets and people analyzing it and everything, to me, I felt, I saw jealousy, I saw envy, I saw spite for a man that has done everything he's been able to achieve, as a rapper. And because I listened to the Kendrick verse and, yeah, there was one that was 6 minutes long, like 3 minutes into it, I just zoned out.
But if you're going to zone out now, but I thought people wanted hip hop.
No, like, bro, like I just
you want it to be palatable. You want
yes,
it to be tasty.
I just want it to be easy, easy on my ear. I just wanted to just follow like a setting. What's the word right now? Just a setting method.
This thing that you're saying now, this thing you're saying right now, this is what I'm talking about the irony right now in the industry. So it's like, hip hop is dead. Rappers know they rap again. When rappers start to rap, you say,
it's not sweet. It's too heavy. It's too long. Yeah,
I feel like rappers quickly adapted to that and realized that people had especially in Nigeria, a tolerance or a limit to the tolerance of how much, and a lot of people started to modify 3 verses, and this is worldwide now, 3 verses to 2 verses on the rap song.
Then we became 1 verse. Then
so I understand what you're saying, like how people are coming at Drake as if the way of style he introduced to the game didn't explode it. It made the rap game so much bigger.
Yeah.
It gave some people who didn't have style their style.
Yeah, it gives people number one. Yeah.
So to me, like, I don't really respect people who come and act as if his achievements mean nothing now after we've enjoyed them. That's to me, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
But in terms of Kendrick versus Drake, to me it was so crazy because these are my goats.
Yeah.
Kendrick, Drake, Cole, these are my goats. And to see that they're having like a real, genuine, bona fide beef, it paid me small, but at the end of the day, Kendrick got a platinum record out of it. So it's like, I feel 2 kinds of ways about it. Those 3 rappers are important to me because it's like, Drake lets me know that, you're on the right track when it comes to like exploring the fusion between rap and melody. J. Cole tells me that, that authenticity that you cling so tightly to, it can pay off.
Yeah.
And then Kendrick says to me that...
J. Cole.
No, Cole is the one that reminds me of my authenticity is important.
Okay.
And that is important to it's important to have a narrative and a story. And I think that's what Cole is. And then Kendrick is like an outlier. He's like, you should never be afraid to be who you are. Like you should never be afraid to, and also like his performance style and performance attitude. For a lot of people say, I don't really understand what you're saying in the verses. You understand when you watch him perform. And they let me know like how important and powerful like performance is. So these are 3 big artists. The fact that they're beefing is hilarious.
It's weird, man, to be honest. But hey.
It was entertaining though.
Yeah.
Beef is entertaining.
I know.
You guys like beef.
I know quite. So if you like, rate your top 5 rappers in Nigeria.
In Nigeria?
Yeah, let's start with Nigeria. Like, I'd love to know who will be on your list.
In Nigeria?
Yeah.
Ghost.
Okay.
For sure. Top 5 rappers. It's hard to put Ghost without putting Tech.
Yeah, so Tech.
But I really...
Or you can say Ghost and Tech.
Yeah, Ghost and Tech.
Yeah.
Alpha Ogini.
Okay.
I think Alpha Ogini is tough. Lyrically, he's really strong.
Sheesh.
Who else? What else do I love that I listen to? I gotta put M. The reason I gotta put M is because of the influence.
Yeah.
You can't like love rap music in Nigeria without not respecting that.
What M.I. did, yeah.
Yeah, the influence is just way too great. It's way too great. Dang, who else do I love? And I know they're there. It's because I'm on camera.
Yeah.
I'll think of that.
Okay, cool.
Those are 3 right now.
That's fantastic. Anyway, so now, recently though, there was a tweet before as regards, Wizkid talking about hip hop and rap being dead and everything. Then I think you quoted it, with because with the decline of Afro, I won't call it a decline. I think I would just call it an oversaturation in a way, where I think the fans or the audience have gotten too much of a genre, and it seems like nothing is sticking anymore. Yeah, because I remember before, like in a year, in a year, we could get like 4 or 5 breakout artists, and that is how rich the music was. And right now we're in 2020. Last year it was Udumodu Black and Shali Poppy were the breakout artists, and in 2024 we are almost halfway through, and there's no hit. There's no song that's come out that is like huge and everything. So I understand that. Then, he came and, he said what he said, and everything. And a lot of people were expecting you to, maybe like respond. So was there a reason why you just let that go?
First and foremost, that just to give context, I'm one of the people that didn't think Wiz said hip hop is dead.
Okay.
I think what you're referring to is, I think, when there was a magazine interview, and somehow hip hop is not his favorite genre.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I don't really feel like that means hip hop is dead. I feel like that's somebody that says, it's just like you saying right now to me, that I don't like country music that much.
Oh yeah, that much. Yeah, and it's okay.
Does that mean country music is dead?
Yeah, and it's okay.
Post Malone chopping the charts right now with Morgan Wallen with that.
Yeah,
I had some help. You know what I'm saying? So whether you think it's not, so to me, I didn't think that that's what he meant, and I also didn't even think he was speaking about Nigerian rap. I felt like he was just stating his opinion, and Wiz has rappers on his records, Skepta, Zlatan. So I didn't take it that way. So I never felt Wiz said hip hop is dead. So it doesn't make sense that I would be like, the whole thing now recently was that I made a tweet that shaded that moment.
Yeah.
By saying, hip hop is dead. So, I don't remember what the tweet was. Something about Afro beats.
Yeah, facing the same thing.
Yeah, facing the same thing. Like yeah. So it's crazy that, how can I be shading Wiz that hip hop is, if my hip hop is dead refers to Wiz, when I never thought Wiz said hip hop is dead. So that in itself is non-starter. Yeah. But mainly to explain, the real intention behind my tweet more than anything was that, here we go again with this new thing I'm hearing, that Afrobeats is dead. I'm hearing this rumor that Afrobeats is dead. And I'm thinking to myself, where have I heard that rumor before? Oh, I remember when they used to say hip hop is dead. It wasn't Wiz. Was it Wiz? That's how 5, 6, this has been in the industry for how long now, right? I remember that when they say hip hop is dead. Who keeps coming up with these damn rumors? Oh man, Afrobeats guys, so sorry you're going through your own struggle right now with this crazy rumor, but don't worry, this too shall pass. Hip hop artists, we have been through our own time when they were telling us hip hop is dead, and we're still here. And personally, I understand where you're coming from and what people are saying about no breakout artists, but I feel like it's smelling like small entitlement to me. It's smelling like entitlement, because it's like the numbers Afrobeats has put up on the board in the last 5 years have been phenomenal, even in the last 2 years. This is not the first time in the industry where there wasn't a breakout artist in the first 6 months of the. We're not even at the end of the year for us to even know. This is not the first time. I think it's way too early, way too soon, and very unfair on this genre that is starting to really peak in the world to say that it's dead or dying or there's not. And also, furthermore, to gauge it solely on hits, when there's, whether it's their breakout or not, there's new artists coming up every day. All of a sudden, I'm talking to seeing Bloody Civilian doing a thing. I'm seeing Taves doing
his thing. Yeah.
I'm seeing all these artists popping up. Afrobeats is dead, but we just launched King Maddie's. Her new song is fire. So how are you telling me it's dead? So to me, I'm confused by that idea that Afrobeats is in this decline or anything like that. I personally feel that how great music is made, how hits are made, is great artists come out, new artists come out inspired by them, new artists put out music, and the cycle perpetuates, and eventually you start to get bigger and bigger music. And sometimes it doesn't happen on schedule, because despite what you think, there's no formula for these things sometimes. I think it's way too early, way too unfair to say that, to really stand 10 toes and say, Afrobeats is dead.
Yeah, and I think it just falls back to your question. Like that, a lot of people perpetuating this quote saying, hip hop is dead or Afrobeat is dead, are people who, a lot of people look up to them in the industry, like they shape opinions. You understand? And when you start to say a thing over and over
Tastemakers,
again,
the Twitter
yeah,
tastemakers.
yeah. Then when you say a thing over and over again, and
Sticks, man.
yeah, and the fans benchmark a genre by the amount of hits that genre puts out maybe in a calendar year or something, or you're benchmarking an artist by, okay, when was the last time you put out a hit, or when was the last time you were on Apple 100, or when was or what are your Spotify listeners?
Yeah.
It's almost like we are being propelled by vanity metrics over actual proper music. Because I want to go back to the time when I was in uni and would buy the new Timaya record, and we listen to it, and we banter with our friends of how good it was. Or we'll buy the Jesse Jags or the Ice Princess, all those people where we just used to listen to music for the fun of it. Nobody was saying, oh, how, because we didn't have
Is there
DSPs then.
Timaya on the top 100?
Yeah, nobody know.
That hit record.
You get me? So everybody just loved the fact that it was great music out there. Then all of a sudden, it's almost like this vanity matrix, and I only see it in Nigeria, in Africa, because I follow a lot of people, abroad, and I can't remember the last time I saw Taylor Swift saying, "Oh, I'm on Apple." Hot 100 or anything. It's like they don't even care about these things.
But she'll say it's when she's on Billboard Top 100, because that one.
Oh yeah, that is like the zenith or anything. And I think for an industry where we've chatted on the Billboard, we've had one of the longest running songs, in the UK too as well. So I think that we should just focus on just putting out the music rather than just being moved by the next hit or a vanity matrix.
I also worry about the agenda of the people that want to turn these phrases into slogans, because that's what hip hop is dead is. It's a slogan at this point in time, and it doesn't matter whether or not it's true.
True.
And I wonder, do you want to, like, if you really believe that you're here for the industry and the culture, you will put context. You will put context to that statement of, right now, this year, there hasn't been this and that. However, you would create a sentence that is more accurate and representative of what's happening, rather than a de facto statement of, because of this and this, hip-hop, Afrobeats is dead. I think it's unfair to something that is changing the lives of people daily. Now, I promise you, parents this year, their son says or their child says, I want to be in music, they're not going to act like they did 10 years ago. Why? Because the genre is changing people's mindsets. This is the reason why Nigeria has a new public image. It's music, it's art, it's the creative industry.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? So to me, I feel like I just can't buy it. I feel like it's unfair. But you know what? We can't fight.
Yeah.
There is now these statistics, there's new metrics, there's new way to delve into data. It's always going to, look, right now, even football now, they might play you that day because of the stats they've.
Yeah, and people say, "Oh, how many take-ons did he do? How many balls did he win?
So,
what's his heat map?" And back in the day when you watch,
it's like, are you ball?
Yeah, when you watch US 94, it's like when a guy played football, he played football.
Yes,
nobody's looking at, oh, how many take-ons has he done?
So it's part of the game now. And I feel like it's only going to become more and more intense that way. I think my greatest thing is I pray that artists could come up, have that thicker skin to still feel like an artist and not feel like a product.
Yeah.
Because that's what they're pushing artists to become more and more. Is like, they're showing you graphs in meetings about how, okay, this is your career. And it's like, I just want to make music. So I think that, but I feel like it's what, there's a phrase about the devil, and but the whole point is I don't see it going anywhere. I don't see that changing. I feel that's something we're going to have to deal with. I feel like now when you drop music, you have to think of TikTok just as much as you think of your DSPs. I feel like those things are inevitable.
Yeah.
The most important thing is to keep the soul of the music.
Yeah. So coming back to what you just said, the soul of the artist. That's why, aside Nigerian music, I listen to a lot of South African music, and the reason why I listen to South African music is because I feel South African music has soul. Like I can't understand what they're saying, but I can connect to it. From Yvonne Shaka Chaka, all those songs for against apartheid, and to the Nasty C's and the AKAs, God rest his soul, and Soweto Gospel Choir, every Hugh Masekela, the first African to have a #1 song on the Billboard, to everything.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Oh yeah, went all the way to #1. So to how they make music, and I think it's something that we're also missing in Nigeria, where you listen to the music and it's almost tailored for the algorithm. And there's like when I listen to Chardonnay music and you say something like everybody's on the island now until it sinks, and it makes sense. I can connect to that. You understand? But you just listen to a song and you're just looking for a quotable or something that anybody can just do a dance to. And after a while, you're just disconnected from it all because there's nothing that feels authentic. So how are you still able to make music in the midst of all this craziness?
I'll be honest with you, that there is something about who you are that you need to protect, that you need to guard, because, and I didn't know this going into the game, but like the way your career goes, the things you're exposed to, the things you experience, all of them have ways of like influencing that. Let's just call it the soul, the artistic soul. And I think that, man, if not for like my family, my core like support system, I don't think it would have been possible for me to keep making the kind of music that I'm making. Because if it doesn't go, you get so discouraged. And the thing about success is a double-edged sword, because you see it go and then you're now thinking to yourself, if it doesn't go again, do I have to switch? What do I have to do? And then I feel like you become rudderless, you become no anchor.
Yeah, you start
it's very, very
important to try a bunch of things.
That. Bro, I can't stress that enough. And you would be surprised to know how many artists are struggling with that identity crisis. And I think that if any, the artists that do the best are the ones who have accepted what they do, who they are, and will live and die by it. You know what I'm saying? There's one thing that I've been thinking about recently that has been very powerful to me, is the fact that there is a power in being naive. You come into the game, being naive allows you to attempt impossible things. It is that lack is when you lose that ignorance and you get experience, you start to become fearful.
Yeah, you're like,
you start to realize how hard
it is,
and how hard it is to repeat acts of success.
Yeah.
So trying to maintain that naivety that comes into the game as a new artist, if you can protect that, you'll continue to make music that you're proud of.
Okay, cool. So one final question before we let you go. So you're one of the few artists as is very private as regards a bunch like your private life.
Yeah.
I came on. I think was he on Twitter, and everybody was like, "Hey, congrats, you got married and everything." I was like, "From where to where? When did you even start dating and everything?" Then we know you're a father now. So all that, being a father, being a husband, how's that had an effect on you, as a human being and also an artist? I hear, it comes with an extra layer of you being very self-cautious and also responsible too as well.
I mean, that's heavy, and this is another topic I hardly ever talk about. I always feel like the more you put out of your family, the more it endangers them.
Yeah.
But I feel lucky. I feel it's like an anchor. It gives me grounding. It gives me something to come home to. It gives me something to aspire to. It gives me a reason to be even more motivated. It has amplified my motivation times 100, because you now have people that you want to be proud of you. At the same time, it also adds anxiety, because this is the thing you've chosen to do.
Yeah.
Then more than ever, you realize how risky it is. Every time I step on the mic, every time I go and write a song, every time I decide again that I'm going to continue being an artist, it's a massive risk. Because, bro, there's no guarantee that you're going to do anything successful. Like, there's so many artists dropping music. So you become really, really like hyper aware of the risk. And you don't want your family to face what could happen if it falls apart. So there is definitely that tension at play. But I think it has made me a better artist, and has made me just a better person. And I'll do anything to protect my family, and I'll do anything to give them the life that I feel like they deserve. Right now, music is allowing me to do that, and I'm as an artist, I don't think there's anything that you can wish for more than that.
Oh, fantastic! So, your fans, are we going to see like a project this year?
I'm working on the album right now.
Okay,
that's what I'm going to say. I'm working on the album right now, like right now.
Does it have a name?
It doesn't have a name right now, and it doesn't have a drop date.
Okay, no name, no drop date.
No name, no drop date. But I'm actively working on it. I would love for it to be this year. It feels like this year is a good year.
Okay.
And there's going to be a lot more music. Really, I'm actually looking at dropping something again really soon. So it's one of those years where I feel once again like an indie artist again. I feel like an upcoming artist again, because I feel like I need to let them know who the leader of the revival is and what it means.
Yeah.
And put out a body of work that represents that.
Okay.
is the year for that.
Okay, cool. So I'm looking forward to that. So thank you
sir.
so much. This has been a very, interesting interview. One of the best I've had. So thank you.
I'm
for
glad we could do it, bro. Look,
Yeah.
I've always appreciated you. You're one of those people that has supported vocally.
Yeah.
And I think support is good. It's
Yeah.
even better when you're vocal about
Yeah.
it. And as an artist, you don't realize how often you need those little random, unexpected votes of support.
I know.
Much appreciated,
I
bro.
understand. I know how hard it is to be a creative. You understand? I know. So no problem. So looking forward to the album, and Get Deaf when it drops. I will have you back so we can just chop it up as well.
You knew that.
Yeah. Thank you so much, bro.
My guy.
Yeah, sure.
For sure.
It's been Listen with OC, and it's been Ladipoe.
But you knew that. Always. And cut. Perfect. What you say? Yeah. Okay.
For him. Yeah. Oh, pictures.
Let me know when you're ready.
Running on clock, man. 60 seconds.
I got you, man.
Let's move. In 3.
You never fail. What's up? It's Ladipoe, the leader of the revival, and you're watching Listen with OC. But you knew that.